Wall Street Bets thing with Poet. And the concern with Poet is that they're trying to get it to squeeze or whatever without understanding that Opendoor people are still coping. And so it's going to be, whenever you have here's the thing. Let me give you an example, all right? And this is something that people come in all the time. People are, oh, I'm an expert in the market. I've been in since GameStop, and I know how this stuff works, and you just don't get it, Stocky. GameStop's going to MOAS. The warrants are going to make the MOAS happen. This is an investable company because they have cash that they're not spending. AMC, it's not that I understand things more. It's that I'm on the outside looking in. I'm not like, looking for confirmation bias. A lot of people look for confirmation bias because you have money invested or you're involved in something and you really, really want it to go right for you. And so you're going to look at and grasp at everything and look at that as whatever. If you zoom out and look at the whole picture, I do the same thing with my stocks, right? For example, GME and to an extent AMC. Why did they squeeze back in 2021, right? Why did they squeeze? Because everybody in the fucking world was watching and buying. You have coalesced this entire population of people, millions of people, and poured all that money into one thing. Simple supply and demand in a short-term time frame, prices skyrocket. Two things can happen. One, the company dilutes the shares, right? So if, let's say there's, just for aesthetics, there's 1,000 shares of something, and there's 10,000 people that want to buy it. Well, if 1,000 people have one share each and they want to sell it, but there's 9,000 other people that want to buy it, these guys can raise the price on it and it gets bought up. And then everybody who wants to get in has to do it. It drives the price up, right? But if you dilute it and turn it into 10,000 shares, well, guess what? Now the value of each one isn't worth as much. There's more out there, so it's not going to, there's, people don't have to overpay for it, so it drops the price, right? Dilution from the company. The other is the squeeze nightmare. Now GameStop has diluted a million times. AMC has diluted so many times. It's like what in medieval times and back in those days, you didn't drink water. There wasn't water. You only drank alcohol because water had bacteria and diseases in it, but they didn't know it because they didn't have microscopes and shit. So they just knew that if they drank water, they got sick and died. So they're like, okay, but if I drink beer and wine and all that shit, I don't die. So I'm just going to drink that, not realizing that's because of the boiling process that made it. So even children drank beer for breakfast, lunch, dinner all day in the fields. It just was diluted so much that it was very low alcohol. But like everybody was fucking drunk back then, or you had everyone was an alcoholic, right? And so this is an actual a true story, okay? This is actually something that happened, right? Like I could get into a whole thing about the food they ate, which was fucking horrible and stuff like that. But yeah, so that was dilution, right? If you had money, you drank wine. And if you were in with the church, maybe you got some mead or some shit like that. But like you couldn't drink water because you'd fucking get sick and die, right? Well, I'd go to the clean river. No, because animals shit in it. People are, whatever. There's fucking, whatever. So we're diluting. The other is dilution of the people. So you can either dilute the shares or you can dilute the people. How do you dilute the people? Get the FOMOers or the ones who made money and tell them, here's the next big opportunity. And that's when you get your KSS and you get your, give me some of the names from back then. What do you guys remember? Not KSS, Goss, right? Goss. What was the other one? The little weed stock. What was it? Oh yeah, you got BBBY was later on. Sundial. There you go. Sundial. BlackBerry. Cost. That's the one I was thinking about. Cost. And on and on and on and on and on. Nokia. Yeah. So now either dilution of shares or dilution of people. So if you dilute the shares and the people get diluted, you kill the momentum. And then people want to get out because they're up profitable, so they start getting out. And then the people who are buying from them are bag holders forever. And they're the ones who sit back and stay on these forums of, it's going to MOAS. It's going to be just, did you hear about this? Oh, this is all because the hedgies are after us, or the failures to deliver. This is illegal. And these guys they're going to have to do it. And even if you're right, it's like, okay, that is wrong. And maybe they will have to, but then the shares dilute and it doesn't matter anymore. But you believe every little piece of news. Not being a dick. That's just like, that's how this works, right? So with Poet right now, here's the problem. Bear case and bull case. I am starting a Poet position. Ducky, you're late to the game. Other people got in when it was $7 and stuff like that. Sure. I don't get in just because people start talking about it. I'm going to give you the bull case, okay? And I'm going to give you the bear case. All right? I'm going to give you the bear case and the bull case. Bull case, for me, is that it's getting picked up by regular news right now. I posted the article today in Stocky's Daily News that retail traders are buying. I'm going to show you another chart right now. This is not a call to action. I'm just explaining my thought process on things. Jesus, serve is still going. I posted this in Stocky's Daily News today, so I'll just show it to you here. Oh, fuck. I didn't save it. Son of a bitch. Ah, here it is. This gives you an example. Here you are. Sherwood news, major news. Not major, but major for stock. Talking about Poet. Here's the call volumes for Poet. Daily call volumes, averaging like 10 to 20,000, and then in one day, 600,000. So they're talking about it. Now, what does that mean? That means that this is where liquidity is created, generally speaking. Whenever there's like a meme stock or you know, a new retail darling or whatever, there's a few cycles, right? And they have to hit correctly for it to move the right way. But you have the initial people that buy, and then the other people that buy, they're down. Then you have the first round of people talking about something. And that's where it hits message boards. Get a little spike, comes back down. Then you get your retail hubs, like Wall Street Bets. Goes up, comes back down. Then you get your news cycle. Okay, we are here. Okay, remember, it jumped on the Wall Street Bets, and now it's come down today. This is supposed to be what I call the liquidity phase. There are obviously algos and computers and people that watch Wall Street Bets and a place like that to see if it's viable or not. The option call exploding was all good and great. We're seeing the drop today. But this is where people go. This is where the real people make money, or the big money is put in, if the cycle is correct. This is where, okay, on this dip right here, the news cycle dip, this is where the money gets in. Wait for the dip, wait for it to come back down, put the money in. Now it's on the news cycle. Now real money's coming in. Now volumes are starting to pick up. Then, because of that, the people that were here, and here are making money. They start posting their gains. They think they had it figured out. This is what pushes it. They post their gains. That, after the liquidity cycle, is what drives in the next group of people. That's when you get that sudden spike up, and then you get that elation. Everyone is making money. And look at all these gains. Now more people are posting gains. Everybody's, oh shit, I better get on it. Oh, it's going to $82. It's going to $100. It's going to whatever. And that's when you get the fucking kids in their college dorm with $200 Robinhood accounts fucking jumping in. Most of it's through derivatives like options, but that's where you get it. And then you get the exit liquidity cycle. And then from there, sometimes you get a rebound, and that brings in more people before it eventually dies off. And they all end up looking like this. Go back to any chart that is a retail darling. That's a shit chart. Go back to any chart, and they all look like that. Every one of them. They all end up looking like that. Same thing here, right? Boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, whoop, 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 whoop. That's what they all look like. And so we did that with Opendoor. We caught in around 131 around this cycle because that was the only one. Now, this is the bear case. I'm talking about from this point. I'm not talking about here because everything I sound like makes it sound like now's the time to buy for a bull case. No, bear case. The reason that Opendoor worked so well was because it was a standalone. It was the only one. Remember how we started in the beginning about the whole GameStop and AMC thing? It was one fucking cycle, everybody in? The problem is that there's still open army people and because it bounced back up to $9 range, that still believe this is going to go to $82 or whatever. That confirmation bias that I bought the top or I got more, I know this is going to work, or I'm balls deep and I'm going to do this. Because that one hasn't died yet, there are less people in the retail side to try to push the Poet one than there were during the Opendoor one. So that's the problem right now. So for those of you guys that want to jump in on this Poet thing, you're like, oh my God, I missed Opendoor. Here we go again. I mean, it may work, but you got to give yourself a bear case scenario. Number one, it's being pumped because to pump it, not because of the legitimacy of the company, number one. And number two, it's diluted. Remember, either the company dilutes or the traders or the money, they dilute. And right now there's dilution on traders. As long as Opendoor is still being talked about and people are there, they're not going to sell that or let that go. Those people aren't going to move their money to Poet. So you have like a lot less people to put money into it. You see what I mean? That's something you got to put in the back of your mind when you want to jump on this. Doesn't mean it's not going to go back up, right? If we get to the point where the liquidity cycle picks up and people start posting their gains, we may see it. But we may see less gains or less amount of people doing it just because there's so many more people still in something else. So I realize that I'm just an idiot with a camera, but this is one of that like stupid shit that goes in my head every time I look at something and I think about something. I put all those little from years of doing this shit. That's how I look at it. Like, we did good with Opendoor. We got in at like 131, and I think a lot of us sold between $4 and $7. Of course, it went all the way up to 9, and then when it went to 10, we shorted it and made a bunch of money too. But this is going to be a little bit different because these are the obstacles, right, that we just broke down as the bear case.